Welcome to the Bookers Alliance podcast, where we hold the pencil and the pencil is power. Coming at you right now is your host, Marky Mark, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Donaldson. Join us as we discuss the ever-changing landscape of professional wrestling. So hang on tight, you jabronis, and enjoy the ride. Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for joining today's episode of the Bookers Alliance podcast. Today, we got a great one for you. Not talking about The Rock, Emma. No, not the great one.
Not today.
Not him. Not the great one.
Not unless we get some news while we're recording here. You know, maybe something scrolls across our screens, all the screens we got up here to keep up with the newest news and dirt.
Yeah, if we hear that,
yeah, there you go.
Breaking news.
Right. If you hear an uncomfortable pause, that means we're getting news. But up until now, we don't have no Rock news. So.
No, so we're going to talk about some madness going on, and I ain't talking about macho madness. Ooh, yeah, I'm talking
Ultimate
about
madness?
No, not ultimate madness either. No, we talking about some holiday madness.
Oh, holiday madness.
I done seen Santa running around here with a barbed wire 2x4. Damn elves going around here with chairs.
There you go. Is it going to be the match? The movie. No holds barred.
Who Debo?
Yeah, there you go. It's our Christmas movie. You remember that Christmas special WWE did when they showed the movie and then they had a steel cage match with Brutus and Hulk versus Zeus and Macho Man? What the hell?
Oh God!
Well, they had to find some way to get people to watch that movie. I mean, that was some '90s horror right there.
Yeah, that was some mess. But
late '80s, early '90s mess.
But yeah, come on in the house though, everybody. Bring yourself up a ringside seat here. Today we got something amazing. We got something special that has happened. Frank, let us in on what's going on.
Well, sometimes you got to take your voice back in this whole digital radio world here we got with all this broadcasting and all. And, you know, we make a lot of mentions on this show about people borrowing ideas from us and hijacking some stuff and taking some stuff. Well, every now and again, you have to take your voice back. You have to take your ideas onto their platform and tell them, you know what? This is what we're doing over here. Let me bring it over to you and let you guys hear. Let's have a little tete-a-tete, a little face-to-face.
Ooh, sound like we got, did we go rough ride on somebody? Is that what happened?
Well, hey, out of last week's show, we told you it was hot, right?
Yeah.
Muy caliente, as we said.
Take.
Oh, yeah, so... we told you guys when the show was recording it was going to be hot. And I mean, there was some follow-up after it this time, but it was legit follow-up. So, you know, we said, you know, we're not going to shade our fans from it because we know the millions and millions of listeners we got ain't bothering to listen to all them other podcasts out there. You're getting your news straight from us. But we want to share a little, you know, a back and forth we had with some other shows out there this week.
Other shows, do tell.
Well, I mean, you know, so... somehow or another, the rumor was last week that Busted Open was the #1 wrestling podcast. Now, I don't know how they bumped us out of that #1 spot. I mean, my understanding was we were neck and neck.
Dirty politics.
Probably. I mean, they got a lot of money. You know,
damn,
they got
Dave LaGreca,
Sirius XM backing them and all that. So, I mean, you know, they got a lot of backup. So, chances are they grease some palms here and there. You know, payola, you know how that goes. And we ain't paying here. We're just putting out quality material. So, right. I think we got screwed out of that #1 spot, but that's okay. We'll work past it. But figured we have a little collaboration with the #1 podcast this week. We had a little, you know, give me some feedback here. Let me hear. You know, listen to some of my ideas here. Let's see what you think. Y'all are the pros. You know, we're just a fledgling startup. But, you know, I think we put them on their heels for a little bit, so we want to share that with our listeners.
All right. So what happened? Did they ask you to call? Or?
Well, so they, you know, every now and again you reach out. Saturday host Denise Salcedo, you know, me and her, we got a little... social media friendship. So, you know, we keep in touch there. Maybe every now and again she might slide in my DMs. And, you know, I might slide in her DMs.
Hold up, time out. Huh? No sliding.
Oh, okay. Well, you know,
slide.
We're peers. See,
okay.
we you know, similar jobs and all that. So we you know, we share common interests.
Gotcha.
So every now and again there'll be a reach out here, or reach out there, or reach around here. I knew it was going there too.
I tried to cut it off at the pass.
I will. Yeah, as you know, we're just joking, but but yeah, they reach out to you and say, hey, we heard your show on Friday. We want to get a little more out of it. Do you got a little more to give? And of course, here at the Bookers Alliance, we always got a little more to give.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's take a listen here.
Yeah, we should probably just let everybody see what they come up with.
All right, let's take a listen.
Mark, let's go ahead and I'm going to take some phone calls because our phone lines are really busy right now. So let's go ahead and bring people in and see what they've got on their mind. Let's bring in Frank from North Carolina. Frank, what's going on today? Is Frank there? I think we may have lost Frank. All right, we'll circle back.
Hell with y'all. I'm out of here.
Let's go ahead and bring in.
That's about what Frank said. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Oh no!
It was so how they brought me in. I ain't really like how they brought me in. I'm like, now wait a minute. Y'all reached out to me. Don't make it seem like I'm just calling out the blue now.
Ooh.
Denise kind of tried to shade me a little bit, like like we ain't already friends. She was like a random caller. I'm like, random caller. So I hung up. I clicked.
So Mark recognized the beef then.
Yeah, Mark knew it was coming. He knew. He saw the shade. He saw it coming a mile away.
He said the hell with y'all.
Yeah, Mark said, I think Frank said the hell with y'all. You bring me in. You can't bring me in like I'm just some schlum off the streets. Come on.
This is Frank. Come on. What half of the Bookers Alliance?
It says in the entrance, the man, the myth, the legend. That ain't just. What
didn't she get?
Exactly. She knows what she can get. She can get it. Wait a minute. Hold on.
Walked you right to the door.
Yeah, hey. So you know what I say. If you're gonna take me to the door, do you hear me knocking? Well, let me in.
Yeah, come on.
What I'm saying. So I said, hey, but yeah, that wasn't exactly the way to bring me in. So I said, they went to another little segment, did a commercial break, and reached back out and said, oh, we're sorry. We don't know what happened there.
So cooler heads prevailed, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. She called and told me, I didn't mean it. I'll bring you in on a little bit more warmly. I was like, okay, well, that's what I like. I like warm apple pie.
Ooh,
so
okay.
I said, all right, bring me in.
Not American pie, though.
Not American pie. See, I tried to avoid it that time. I went with apple pie. Could have went the other way, but I tried to stay clean. And there you go in the depths.
I walked to the door.
Uh-huh.
All right, so let's listen to the rest of it there. Let's see what happened.
Go ahead and bring in Frank from North Carolina. He's back. Frank, what's up?
Dad, I am so sorry, y'all. I am so sorry.
That's okay. No worries. You're back. You're here.
Good stuff. Well, I was calling in to talk about the Seth Rollins CM Punk altercation from Monday. I've got an interesting take on it. I want to hear some feedback.
Okay, cool.
All right, so my thing is that Mark was there in 2013, 2014 when Punk had his issues. My thing is when Punk was there before, his major claim or his major disgruntlement was Cena was the number one guy and he was always the number two guy. It looks like right now Roman's the number one guy and Seth's the number two guy. Seth said CM Punk isn't home yet. Or this isn't his home. I feel like CM Punk is the big brother that moved out of the bedroom that Seth moved into. Now Seth is coming back for us. CM Punk's back from college, and Seth is mad that he got to share the room. Those two are two in the same. I can't understand why Seth hates him.
I love that analogy, by the way. I love that
great analogy.
Yeah, that was good. I'm going to have to steal that one. I'm going to use it for the future. But I do think that... so here's the thing. Like, when you think about... CM Punk coming in and kind of taking the spot that may have belonged to Seth Rollins. I don't know, only because I really can't compare CM Punk and Seth Rollins. I think they're two very different types of stars, and I just see CM Punk as like, I don't know. I just see him a lot differently because he's this different type. Because of this story and everything that's happened with him in WWE, it's just been a different journey back to the company. So they have two very different stories. So I just see them a lot differently. What do you think?
I don't know if I see him. I don't see him different. I see two very ambitious people that wear their hearts on their sleeve. Seth is not wrong.
when CM Punk was on the other side and he was saying all the things that he was saying, it was directed at them to hurt them. And Seth was like, no, you're not going to hurt us. And he took up the banner to say that he was defending WWE. Now, Punk is back. And Punk is like, hey, forgive me for my trespasses. I was on the other side, but now I'm home. Now I'm back. And you know who is not going for it? Seth Rollins. He like, I don't give a shit that you are back. I don't want you here. You still the enemy to me. But I went through that before.
All right, so there you got it. So what happened?
Well, so first of all, thank you to both Mark and Denise for finally acknowledging that y'all are more than, okay with stealing my stuff.
Yeah, I mean that caught red-handed.
At least they fessed up to it this time. Normally,
absolutely.
Like Bully, and Bully won't ever do it, but normally they listen to our stuff on Friday, and then all of a sudden Saturday, Sunday, even Monday, you'll hear them with some profound, observation or some kind of crazy acknowledgement, and we'll be sitting here like, wait a minute,
where have I heard that before?
Where have I heard that before? But normally there ain't any collaboration. It's just, we drop our stuff and just kind of leave it be for a week. Well, they are every day now. They even broadcast on Sunday now. So they're able to come every day and reply back. So it ends up sounding like, by the time we come back with a follow-up show and say, man, we sure did, appreciate them stories they were having on Saturday and such. By the time we say it, it's been a whole week for us. But this go round, since they were like, hey, let's reach out, let's collab. I'm like, I'll collab, but obviously I need that material for our own show. I was like, we're not just gonna, this is give and take here. I can't give y'all all this, profound knowledge and I don't get nothing back. So of course, they signed off on the, hey, take your part, do what you want with it. I'm like, all right, well, I sure will then.
So Denise, if you got a different take on it now, we invite you.
Oh yeah.
We invite you to, to call into this show. And
absolutely. I mean, but I do want to say I appreciate them for acknowledging us in that moment, mostly because I was right there on the air. There wasn't much else they could say. Like, no, we never listened to you guys. We never heard you before. So I told them, where's the plug? I'm like, can I get the plug in? And they're like, no, you're going to have to use that part on your show. I was like, all right, you go ahead and use it on my show.
We'll get it on.
Yeah, I mean, we are in some way or shape or form, we are competitors. I mean, not really. That's kind of like how AEW thinks they're a competitor to WWE. We're kind of in that same realm, but
ouch.
Yeah, not really, but I guess kind of. So they were like, yeah, we can't let you plug. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. Can I use y'all to plug on my show? And they said, yeah. Hey, great.
That's interesting, man. I'm interested though to see. I kind of like where Mark was kind of taking that though, as far as at the end of that conversation though.
Yeah.
But it's kind of gonna be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah. Well, that's what they, after that, after last week's show, that's kind of what they said they wanted. They were like, hey, give us that take on it. We, you said it was spicy. Where's the spice? I'm like, oh, well, that's the spice, because for me, kind of like I was saying on the show, I really don't see why Seth, outside of trying to be the face of the company and defend the company brand and all that, I don't see where Seth should have that much beef with CM Punk. I feel like he's standing in CM Punk's shadow from Punk 10 years ago. He's basically Punk from 10 years ago when Punk was playing second fiddle to Cena.
And Seth is basically Hangman from 8 months ago. He's still in his promos, technically.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are saying. He definitely borrowed from it. If he didn't outright steal it, he definitely borrowed from it. Unfortunately, though, I think that's just the nature of promoing against Punk.
Yeah,
his stuff was so public and and it was so messy. I mean, it was everything he did from when he left WWE up until when he left AEW was both public and messy.
Yeah.
So it's easy fight. I mean, it's low-hanging fruit at this point. If you're gonna promo against Punk, Seth took all the low-hanging fruit possible. He called him old. He called him slower. He called him disgruntled. Everything that we all know. I mean, we saw it all in AEW, which, okay, it's easy to go there, but again, it's low-hanging fruit. I feel like Seth would have been better off saying, hey, I know exactly what your complaint was, but I rose to overcome it, and here I stand as the world heavyweight champion, instead of just saying, I was disgruntled, I didn't like my spot, and I just took my ball and went home, which is what CM Punk did. I feel like Seth could have spun that and said, I could have done the same thing you did. I could be disgruntled just like you, but instead of doing that, I'm going to be the man here. I'm going to earn my spot, then I'm going to take what I want.
Or what really happened was, instead of doing that, Triple H created a consolation prize.
Well, I mean, so they couldn't stop the Roman train at this point. So
here's the take. Without that belt, Seth may be CM Punk.
Seth would be CM Punk without that belt.
Without that belt.
They had the World Heavyweight title when CM Punk was around. That was the first World Heavyweight title that CM Punk won in WWE. So, and yeah, we're not counting ECW for anybody out there who immediately thought, what about ECW? Put your finger down, sit your ass down. We
ain't acknowledging that
in the consideration of this conversation. But, I mean, that is what happened. That, Punk, while Cena was the man over on SmackDown, Punk was walking around with the big gold on Raw. And I don't know if you even remember, but he didn't even lose the title. He got jumped in a backstage segment, and they took the title out there and had the other guys that were supposed to be in the three-way match wrestle for it. And that's how Punk originally lost the World Heavyweight title. At that point, the company was...
I don't remember that.
Yeah, at that point, the company wasn't behind CM Punk. They tried it. They didn't really like the angle that it was going, so they just kind of tried to find a backdoor way to get out of it, just to kind of get out of it.
So Vince Bret Harted him all the way around.
Essentially, I mean, maybe that's why Punk wears Bret's merchandise. Bill, the difference is where Seth doesn't recognize the parallels between him and Punk. Punk recognized the parallels between him and Bret, because Bret, same thing, right?
Yeah.
He was that second guy to Hulk Hogan. Well, then after Hogan was gone, Bret was supposed to be the man, and then all of a sudden he was second to Shawn Michaels, and Bret's like, what the hell? What's going on here? Well, one day Seth's going to look back at all of that and say, damn, me and this guy had a lot more in common than I wish to acknowledge at the time, but damn, here we are.
I think the fans see it. I don't think Seth, he may see it and just don't want to see it.
Well, the fans see it now because I opened their eyes.
That's right. You opened your eyes.
And then because I wasn't 100% sure everybody heard it, I made sure to go on Busted Open to open their eyes.
Talking about the visionary.
Yeah, absolutely.
The revolutionary.
Yeah, sometimes, and I'm going to start doing the little dance in here and do it. Hold on, where's my light?
Just don't. Just stay out of Becky's closet, okay?
Whoa. Wow. I didn't know where you were going with that there. Before you said closet, you can't have that dramatic pause before closet, because I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
All right, so let's move on to a different promo that happened on Raw that we got to talk about, because CM Punk and Seth Rollins isn't the only ones having a battle of wits here. Seth and another person had another dust up. We're talking about Drew McIntyre.
Well, they had to pivot. I mean, you got the tease of CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and we know that's coming. We don't know when it's coming, but we know it's coming. But I mean, before we get there, we got day one in 2 weeks. At that point, I didn't even know that match was happening between Seth and Drew. I was like, wait, what? What are they wrestling? When the hell's day one? And then all of it started flooding back in. And I'm like, because let's be honest, coming out of Raw last week, the only thing that anybody was talking about guys related, I mean, there was the Nia Becky promo, but the only thing guys related anybody was talking about was that Seth CM Punk face to face. Day one, Drew McIntyre, what does Bully always say? Your sister's ass. All that fell into the wayside because that was what we really wanted. That was what we were really craving for.
So kind of what happened is I think WWE realized, okay, I've got 9 weeks in between PLEs here. We got to do something for the fans.
Yeah.
So let's drudge up anything that is New Year's related at all whatsoever, and let's throw it on Raw, NXT, and SmackDown. So you got Raw with day one, you got NXT with New Year's Evolution.
Okay.
And then you got SmackDown that is supposed to be, I think, New Year's Revolution or something like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're kind of giving us a little mini PLE for free on TV to kind of tie this over into the Rumble. I'm a fan. I like it.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about it.
I'm not going to complain about it because, I mean, but you got
good wrestling's good wrestling.
And then you got college football winding down. Pro football is kind of in the playoff scenes right now. And, TV schedules are going to get get funky, so they got to do something to compete anyway.
Yeah, got to keep some interest. I mean, and like I said, good wrestling's good wrestling, so I'm not against it. I don't have any complaints.
And we've seen Seth and Drew go at it before, and talking about good wrestling, they had a damn good match beforehand.
Yeah.
So I mean, it'll be another
With a weird
burner.
outcome, but
It
now
was a
I kind of
weird-
get it. You
Yeah.
know, when you look back at it, then I remember we were high proponents of it's time to get the title off Seth. It's time to get it on to somebody. Probably your best candidate's going to be Drew. Well, now, you know,
Yeah, Seth ain't losing that.
yeah,
Not until Punk takes it off.
absolutely not. So, I mean, at this point, and now we don't know how much, you know, WWE knew about that being a possibility or anything. Of course, they say everything came together on Survivor Series. Yeah, right. But if they want to say it, hey, more power to them for saying it. They mean we don't have to believe it, but
Yeah.
they can say it. But chances are they at least had an inkling of, hey, this might be a thing. These guys already got a little, you know, online beef. We could blow up, turn it into one of the biggest things in wrestling, which, I mean, let's be honest. 4 days ago or whatever, when we're recording, Tribal Chief was on SmackDown. You know, he was setting up his program with Randy Orton. And I think I even texted you during that intro of SmackDown. Was like, man, I'm actually more anxious to see the upcoming Raw, you know, thinking about Punk and Rollins again, than I was to even watch Roman square up against Randy, which in any other world would be, you know, a blockbuster main event.
Yeah, so what's going on right now is I think there's two trains. You got Raw, SmackDown, two trains that are running the track. The tracks are parallel.
Uh-huh.
You got two engines on each train. You got Roman on one train, you got Seth on another train.
Uh-huh.
And I think the program between Seth and Punk right now is pushing that train forward
Yeah.
more than
I would definitely say they're leading the race right now.
So I think, and yeah, I know where you're gonna go. Even before you go, I'm gonna go anyway. What they're doing is they are stalling that SmackDown train until Mania for Cody and Roman. They are stalling that train. They are stalling.
You had me. I was right there with you up until that, and it was like, ugh. As soon as you said that, I'm like, oh, you guys really got to get off this Cody thing.
All right,
it's
so-
not gonna happen.
So let me swerve you real quick then.
All right.
Let me
Swerve when we drive.
Yeah, swerve when we drive. All right, so Roman gave us the end game Friday night, and nobody knew it.
Okay.
Roman said,
Did he snap his fingers and make everybody disappear?
Nope,
or?
nope.
I think he's
Roman-
going to snap his fingers and make Cody disappear from the main event of Mania, but
I think Solo's gonna snap his fingers and make Roman disappear.
that could be on the back end of it.
I think it's coming. I if the Cody Roman thing don't play out, I think you may get a Solo turn maybe before Mania, and you might see a Solo versus Roman.
So while everyone's anxiously awaiting The Rock and Roman to wrestle, you think they'll give us a consolation prize of Roman and Solo?
Roman and Solo.
All right, let me be the first to say, yuck. Ooh, ugh.
So
While that will be a good match one day, we ain't there yet. We're a long way away from that being a main event, especially WrestleMania, by God, caliber main event.
but what if Paul is the catalyst?
Wouldn't give a damn if Jesus was the catalyst. It ain't the time. That ain't going to happen. So,
Hey, I gotta try. If you ain't gonna get on the Cody train with me, I gotta try another train.
no, so you let all them trains pass me by. I'll catch the next one. As the guys say at the subway, when you don't want to
Catch
ride
the
with
next
an
one.
unruly group, I'll catch the
Catch the
next
next
one.
one.
So them two trains that pass me by, I'll catch the next one. 'Cause
All right, so if it ain't Solo and it ain't Cody at WrestleMania, who is it?
So right now, anybody not named Rock is going to be a letdown.
Are you still on the Rock train then?
Not necessarily. I mean, just because I don't see where it can happen. I mean, I feel like now that Hollywood's kicked back in after basically a summer break, I feel like they're playing catch up now, and I don't see where there's going to be enough time and or space for anybody to do anything. But in the vein of that thought, how long has it been since you've seen The Rock post any workout videos on his Instagram?
I haven't in a while.
When's the last time you saw Rock do anything on Instagram?
I haven't in a while.
When Rock ain't traded for wrestling, how often do you see Rock on Instagram?
All the time.
How often how heavy was Rock's social media presence?
Everywhere.
Where's it been ever since he popped up on SmackDown? So just put that little nugget out there to
Gears are
think
turning,
about it.
sir.
Yeah. I'm just putting that little nugget out there to think about that. If he was trying to get into ring shape, and if he was trying to transform his body to be able to go, say, 20 minutes in the ring in a match, he ain't gonna let everybody see it.
Yeah.
So if there was ever going to be a time to disappear and kind of fade off into the shadows for a little bit, wouldn't now be the ideal time
So
to just reemerge in some big grandiose?
I ain't gonna lie. I want to see it. I mean, everybody's want to see it.
Yeah.
So I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna be disappointed. But if it ain't Cody, if it ain't Solo, if it ain't The Rock, they just might as well go on and let Roman beat Hogan's record at that point.
So I've already told you that countless times. I already feel like that's in the plans. Yeah. I told you my thought is Roman will drop the title when they debut SmackDown on USA,
which is what, October.
When the new season comes out. So Roman would break Hogan's record in September, right? Sometime in mid-September he would break it. A couple weeks after that they would debut on USA. Pot, kettle. I mean,
so if all of this comes to fruition, right, we're going to Vegas, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If I call this one, and I mean, we've got recorded proof. This is the whole reason why this podcast exists, because there were so many things. Yeah, there were so many things over the years that we would just discuss. And then all of a sudden, 4 or 5 months later, you see it playing out like, damn. We called that.
We called it.
Why weren't we in the right room? Blah, blah, blah. And, and it just kept coming up. We need to get this stuff on record. We need to have recorded proof of of our talents here. There's got to be, this is like an audition tape for them to inevitably say, hey, Booker's Alliance, how about Bookers of WWE? And then we say, well, Booker's Alliance will be taking a small hiatus for a little while. We will be off the air until further notice. We will see you all on SmackDown on Friday and on Raw on Monday. Goodbye.
I will say that since Triple H took over booking, it has been harder to kind of guess what's about to happen.
So that's why the podcast is really that's why, when we originally started, it was just kind of a stopgap until they called us. We figured they would hear a few episodes, say, my God, there's coal in there, there's diamonds in them there coal mines out there. Let's go digging for it. Well, then Triple H got into power and, he kind of reinvented booking in WWE. And it's like, well, that's going to put a little hold on our progress here because they kind of got somebody now. But somebody could always use some help.
Absolutely.
So our phones are still open. You know the number. You reach out on all our social media platforms, wherever you need to reach us. We're just one call away. Plane ticket would be nice. Couple hotel rooms.
So let's talk about
credit card.
Let's talk about another promo that happened. Sorry. Let's talk about another promo. Let's talk about Nia and Becky Lynch. Let's talk about this for a minute. So obviously, Nia's claim to fame is she put Becky Lynch on the map, busting her nose in that Survivor Series kind of the altercation before it happened. And
true.
And so that's when, Becky had the face shot in the crowd, all bloodied up and everything. So that's Nia's kind of claim to fame, so to speak.
True.
Becky.
I concur.
All right. So Becky, the man. Is it just me? I'm not really interested in this program between the two.
I think it's just you.
Is it just me?
Yeah, I'm actually really interested in seeing it just because of that back history. So the same reason I'm interested in the CM Punk Seth Rollins, because there's reality with it. That's the reason I'm intrigued with this storyline. I mean, I don't think there's hate. Obviously, I don't think they hate each other. It feels like they've been okay with each other. That was, 5 years ago at this point? 2018? So, obviously, I would hope at least they buried that hatchet a long time ago, chalked it up to an accident, and kept it moving. But the fact that there's realism in the story makes me more interested in the story. And there was a point where Charlotte and Nia got into it in the ring. A couple live rounds were thrown, and everybody on the internet went crazy and said, oh, these two hate each other. They can't stand each other. 2 damn weeks later, they were on TikTok dancing together, and it's like, wait a minute. The hell's going on here? Y'all really don't like each other. Then all of a sudden, we saw Nia and Charlotte's wedding and had to start to look, pull the veil back a little bit and say, wait a minute. Friends don't always get along, especially competitive friends who are trying to be the top dog in a business like this. You ain't always going to get along with, I mean, us and Busted Open had a little dust up at the beginning of this show today. We're all friends at the end of the day, but
absolutely.
For a minute, those competitive juices started flowing, and it's like, well, wait a minute, hell, y'all tried to step on us over here. What's going on?
So maybe the reason why I'm not interested in it though is because I'm not getting from Nia Jax what I wanted to get as a fan since she returned. I can't
want her to say her whole and that kind of stuff again.
No, I can't stand her on the mic.
Really?
She's not believable to me on the mic. She comes across as this arrogant asshole, basically, is what she's coming across as.
That's her character.
But that's
so
fine.
It sounds like she's coming across that way to you because
the part that's missing to me, and I've said it before, Nia needs to put some bass in that voice. She needs to get mean. I mean, she needs to get like Vader.
China?
Like Vader mean. Like just mean. Like she
true.
Awesome Kong mean.
Yeah. No, I definitely understand.
That's what I need her to be.
I don't think that's her natural persona. So I feel like if she tries to do that, I feel like it'll be forced. Just because that's not her. Like, so again, she busts up a lot of people. She's quote unquote reckless in the ring. Okay, we get all that, but if you follow her on social, if you see her interaction, she's friendly with almost everybody. I mean, she's really good friends with. So her natural persona is a nice lady who happens to be, competitive in sports. Well, if she just comes out there and, she tried that when she came back, the whole, I'm going to squash you and all this, blah, blah. All right, because you're big, you're going to squash people.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. You've got Becky on the other end of the spectrum who's trying to be a certified killer. Like,
so that also doesn't fit her character. I mean,
but it's just for me, I'm not buying either one of them. I have always struggled with Becky Lynch, the man character. I've always struggled with that character.
That's because you're from the South and you don't like seeing a woman and a man. You guys in the South got to think about a man and a woman and a woman and a man. Her pronouns and stuff like that. I get it.
It ain't that. If Rhea Ripley was to come out and call herself the man, yeah. Believable. She looks the part. It's just like the attitude is there. Becky runs around with an attitude like Stone Cold, but looking like Molly Holly. She's not.
She ain't even half as thick as Molly was. Molly could actually be the man and be imposing against like the Trish's and the other women in her day.
It's just the kind of the intimidation factor for both of them. It's not there for me.
So as we say that, let's go back to something I brought up a lot during the summer, and I'll probably bring up because, going forward, Adam Cole and AEW. Same exact thing for me.
I agree.
When Adam Cole comes out there and talks a whole bunch of trash, I'm standing there like,
you bigger than a piss ant.
Right. Even MJF, they're the same height, but I mean, MJF is 2 of Adam Cole.
Yeah.
Britt Baker's 2 of Adam Cole at this point. I feel like she, obviously she's the dominant one in that relationship. She's probably kicking that ass right now, but neither here nor there. Same thing though, but let's be honest, in this day and age of wrestling, we might just be too old at this point. Where we're used to the Hulk Hogan saying, what Hulk Hogan said, I'm going to body slam you, I'm going to put you down. You believed it because Hulk was 6'8", 330 pounds.
So here's the thing. If Becky Lynch was running around WWE like John Moxley calling herself the man, yeah, I'll buy it. That's the problem.
That kind of was her character at first, but ever since she became a mom, it kind of took a weird change where now she's not as aggressive.
What match was it where she had the tables match or whatever it was with it was her Bray Wyatt
with
match.
Trish.
That match I bought.
Yeah.
That's where I need to see her to buy that character for me. If in Nia Jax,
inevitably they could get there, but because they're doing this whole no physicality thing, So like even last night, Becky, as Nia was walking off talking her trash or whatnot, Becky jumped out the ring and as she hit her with like 15 to 20, behind the back. So Cole called it when Nia hit Becky in the back. He said it was a cheap shot, but
when Becky did it,
when Becky jumped on Nia's back, he was cheering that on. Get her, Becky. And I'm like, Michael Cole.
It's the same thing, dude.
Yeah, it really was. But I digress on that. But yeah, so But I mean, Becky had 15 to 20 shots on Nia that really didn't do much.
Yeah.
Refs pulled her apart. Nia, struck her in the back one time. Becky went down and they went to commercial because she was down so bad. That's the reality of the situation. And, and that's going to be the epic proportion of the angle itself. The fact that Nia could hit her with one shot and completely put her down. Yeah. Whereas Becky would have to give her everything she's got, plus the kitchen sink to even, get her off her feet.
Maybe they win me over, man. Maybe this will be the match where I finally buy into both.
I feel like it'll be in the ring. That's what I'm saying. Because they're doing all that no touching and there's no real physicality and they're just kind of blabbing. That's really what it is. It's like, all right, but, like you said, at the end of the day, when you look at the two of them, it's like, I don't understand how Becky's got all this mantra of, I'm going to stand here and talk all this trash, and Nia has to be the one to run away. The visual ain't right. So the characters may be really, right, but they're miscast.
Really, Nia should be beating her down.
It should be the other way around. Yeah. It should get to the point where, and maybe that's where they did with the turn with the shot in the back. Maybe they're getting to the point now where Nia's like, all right, I do have to fight back.
Yeah.
Let's get physical, and then she can be that imposing heel.
I mean, all they needed to do to fix this was have Becky do a backstage promo and let Nia just beat her down to interrupt the promo.
Yeah, they did it with Shinsuke and Cody, but
that's really all they got to do.
Same problem with that, though. I mean, you already did it with one main event angle. You can't do it again. No. So they got to get creative and they got to work out a new thing. Maybe next year, maybe depending on how they resolve this, if they don't resolve it at day one, maybe next year, start of the new season, we'll delve into this a little deeper and see if we can recast some of these characters or draw up their stories a little better and make it a little more interested for everybody through our eyes, which is another audition, of course.
Sounds like a New Year's resolution to follow through on, sir.
Could be. So I'm just excited. I'm excited that we're gearing up for season 2. We're gearing up for a new year.
Yeah, we're gearing up for all of that. We're also gearing up for the Rumble.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And now that's a fun time.
I love.
We didn't get to really get in our groove before the Rumble last year. Yeah. We were kind of finding our footing at that point.
So WrestleMania, but then right underneath that, Royal Rumble. That's my top 2. I love the Rumble. I love the surprise of it all. I love the intrigue. I love the coming down to the Final Four. Mm-hmm. And matter of fact, one of my favorite Rumble moments was Shawn and Undertaker coming down to the final 2 in the Rumble. Yeah. And the match it was a match within a match.
Yep.
That was great.
Yeah. After we had been through all the ups and downs and everything that the Rumble put you through to get those two guys to finish at the end and then to go one-on-one for as long as they did. Yep. A lot of times when you get down to the last 2, they go for about 2 minutes and then somebody's either thrown out or there's some chicanery and somebody go, and then you're just kind of stuck. But yeah, that one where they get to go at it and you got to see it, and preluding, hey, here we come, we're coming up to Mania season and how are they going to transition it? Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, but then, just like you're talking about coming into Mania season, that's kind of the kickoff to the Mania season, and you don't really know who's going to show up sometimes in these Rumble matches.
That's the first time somebody points at the sign.
And all the fireworks.
The Royal Rumble is the first time you see somebody point at the sign. Whoever points at the sign, you know what they're looking at in the next couple months. It's like, well, how are we going to get from here to April? That's always a good ride.
So in these Rumble matches, sometimes we have some surprise people that show up that are either, legends that have, been in the ring, maybe it's been a while, or you may even have people coming in from another company sometimes.
Get debuts.
I mean,
I think once, well, maybe more than once if you go all the way back to 89, but I mean, like when Mickie James came in as as a champion in another promotion, an active champion in another promotion, that's things like that happen. I mean, the Rumble where you can just kind of throw your hands up and say, hey, let's all see what happens is always interesting. But this is going to be Triple H's first solo promoting
and that's
of
why
the
I'm
Royal
so
Rumble.
Excited. Yes.
So, I mean, at this point, literally anything can happen.
Anything's possible.
I mean, have you heard any names for this year's Rumble? I've heard a couple.
I mean, people have declared a little bit, but at the same time, you've also got people's contracts are going to pop off in 24.
Yep.
I mean, you got people out of New Japan even taking interest in WWE right now. Okada's been kind of rumored a little.
So I've heard his name.
Yeah.
I've definitely heard Okada's possibility to debut in this year's Rumble. And I mean, could you imagine for the sect of the fans who know who he is. Could you, and those are the kind of fans that go to the Rumbles and WrestleManias. They know a lot of the other stuff. Could you imagine if he comes out in the Rumble and you're like, oh my God,
So you got MJF also talking about on an interview today with Sports Illustrated, whether or not this part was kayfabe or not. He states that he has yet to sign an AEW.
That's what he says, and the rumor is that his contract would be up January of 24, which means he would be eligible for the Rumble, but he's also currently the AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
We're gonna call a little bullshit on that.
I would. Now, and don't get us wrong. I mean, you've heard us comment before. If anybody could find a way to bungle the booking and and jumble the promoting and just mismanage the management, it would be Tony. So I mean, if anybody would let the AEW champ pop up on WWE television and find himself under a contract, it would be Tony Khan. But I mean, we're gonna err to the fact of he's got to be a little bit ahead of the game on that probably ain't gonna happen. So
yeah. So another person that I feel like is an all but shoe in that we're gonna get in the women's Rumble. I think you're gonna see AJ.
Sasha Banks.
I think you're going to see AJ.
AJ Lee. Yeah. I thought you were going Sasha Banks.
I think you're going to see AJ.
Sasha
is probably a good
at
bet
this stage, because of the flux AEW's in right now. I would almost put my reputation on record as saying that Sasha will be in that Royal Rumble this year.
And what would it be to see Sasha roll into that ring, look at Bayley, give her a big old hug, and just throw her over the top.
Then throw her over the top. Hey, that could happen. I feel like, something's going to have to culminate with this whole damage control thing and Bayley. I mean, with the Charlotte injury, it seems like they may have had to pivot a little bit. Like they may have been starting to head down that road. And then they were like, oh, hell, we done found ourselves in a little bit of a pickle here. We might have to readjust. So
speaking of Charlotte, Charlotte, we send you our best. Get well. We appreciate everything that you've done in the ring. And we hope that you heal up and have a speedy recovery.
Yeah. Somebody told me she was out for 9 months. I said, well, Charlotte's pregnant. So look at that. But then I found out she had blow out her knee. So I was like, well, when you blow out your knee and not something else, you don't end up pregnant.
She got the ACL, the MCL, all the CLs.
Yeah, they said everything that's in a knee, pretty much. I mean, short of her kneecap, everything else that was in there is gone.
Even the neck strain. I mean, it's
Then I was watching Collision over the weekend, and then Andrade feigned a knee injury, and I'm like, oh yeah, right now, come on now. I'm like, hell, we ain't this damn dumb. Now he's trying to find his way to milk off to be at home, paid on vacation for 9 months too. Now get out of here, buddy. You ain't hurt. Your knee ain't hurt. Get your ass back out there and go to work.
AJ Lee, Sasha, those would be some definite good kind of comebacks for the women's Rumble. You seem to always see Tori Wilson and Michelle McCool somehow.
You ain't never gonna get no complaint out of me for that. If those are the names that you're saying, that you ain't getting no complaints out of me. Bring them both back. Come on with it.
Yeah, I would love to see some throwbacks definitely just kind of pop back up as far as on the men's side.
Well, before we leave off the women's side, I think it's time to bring back Victoria. I mean, she's still active. She's still available. Yeah. I mean, she deserves to get back in. And, she was a huge part of the Attitude Era for the women, during that run. And they've pretty much honored everybody else that was a main player during that time. I feel like, Victoria didn't leave with bad will. She's came back before, so it's not like, there's no reason for her to, but I feel like it's her time to come back and, enjoy some of this upgraded women's wrestling that we have now.
Yeah, I think that would be good. I also think,
didn't want to leave her out. I didn't mean to divvy off the beaten path there, but I just didn't want to leave her out in that. I really feel like, she needs to come back and, the women's wrestling that she was used to, she needs to come back and enjoy some of this new revolution.
I think you see Trish pop back up too. I think that's a possibility.
I can see that. And I saw they did a birthday shout out to her the other day. I can't believe Trish is older than me, but my God, she don't look it, man.
Fine wine, sir.
Yeah, hell.
But yeah, those are just. I mean, with the Rumble, you never know who's going to pop up. I honestly, I can't wait for it. I really feel like I know who the Final Four is going to be for the men. It's kind of laying right there on the table. It's Punk, it's Cody, it's probably Drew, and it's probably. Maybe Shinsuke. I don't
So
know.
you see all Raw guys. You don't see no SmackDown dudes in there at all, huh?
No, I don't.
Got to get somebody in there for
Because I think Orton is going to be
he'll be
fighting
wrestling
Roman at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
pay-per-view.
He'll be wrestling Roman.
Yeah, so I think Orton can't be in it.
No, but I mean, you got to have
I know who
you got
I
to
would
start
like see.
programming something into it going into Mania. If Roman's going to wrestle Randy Orton at Rumble,
Bobby Lashley could
yeah,
be in there.
that would be good. But as much as I would love to see it, I don't see Roman Lashley headlining WrestleMania. So
Montez Ford could be in there.
that could be good, but I don't know.
Sorry, Dawkins.
Since they packaged the Profits with Bobby Lashley, it's like they packaged them all together and then took them all down a peg. Because it
Did nothing
seems
with
like
them.
Montez Ford and Lashley were both like their trajectory was pointing straight up for a while. Then now all of a sudden they're just kind of stagnant. It's like they don't really know what to do with them.
KO could be in there.
KO's in that same boat with Lashley. And ever since he came over to SmackDown, it's like, all right, he's just kind of hanging around. I mean, I think they're kind of trying to position him with Logan Paul, but I know you got a different angle on that.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be the one with Logan Paul.
Yeah, it would be good to see. I mean, it'd be interesting just with the whole, backstage and the punching in the face and all that. So they got a good story, but, if they go a different way, I could understand it. I just hope that come time, Rumble hits, that we've got some interesting stories for, let's call them our B-cast, right?
Yeah.
So, we want everybody to have something interesting going into the Rumble so they can propel themselves all into WrestleMania. What I don't want to see is a whole lot of what's going to be my road to WrestleMania stories again. I mean, we've run that one in the ground these last 2 years.
Roads to WrestleMania.
Exactly. Everybody trying to find their road to WrestleMania. What's going to be my angle? How am I going to get in there? Oh, God.
Who's
we
gonna
know
be
you're
in
going.
the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Yeah, they're right. Then when you run out of people like LA Knight and Lashley last year, for God's sake, they stumbled themselves
How the
into
hell I forget LA Knight?
I don't know when you
That
were
tells
holding on the SmackDown. That's kind of who I was thinking of. I'm like, you don't see LA Knight at least getting in the Final Four.
That tells you right now, Triple H, you got to get LA Knight back in the mix, other than these run-ins trying to help Randy out here.
You might see him show out more in the Rumble. He might get his show in the Rumble.
Yeah, I think there could be an NXT person that also kind of makes a stand in the Rumble.
That would be fun.
I think Braun Breaker, he might be the one.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
It's about time.
Come in there and he'll just eliminate 10 people.
There you go.
Yeah.
Take the Kevin Nash spot.
Kevin
Nash Kane spot. There you go.
All right, so as you can tell, we are excited for the Rumble. We just excited for pro wrestling in general.
Our unofficial tagline for this podcast has been, it's a great time to be a wrestling fan, and it's still holding true.
Yep, it is holding true. And I tell you what, man, as we bring in this year to a close, it has been an awesome year to spend with you guys and talk to you guys and have you interact with us on the podcast here. We appreciate what you guys have contributed, and you giving me and old Frank here the fire to kind of keep going, keep trucking into the new year for 24.
Oh, yeah. So the next episode will be episode 65. We're anxious to get through 65 and we haven't even hit our 1 year anniversary, and we're already 65 episodes in. Speaking of 65, though, we don't want you guys to tune in looking for it next week without knowing that we're not going to be putting out a show next week. It's the holidays, y'all. Come on now.
Yeah.
It's Christmas week. It's going into New Year's. There's going to be a whole lot of drinking going on. What y'all don't need to do is listen to us try and do a serious podcast, or even a not serious podcast. Not with that kind of drinking. You don't need. I mean, let's see. If we usually record on Tuesday, Wednesday, so I mean that could be a whole lot of hangover. That could be a whole lot of Wednesday.
That might be a Booker's Alliance After Dark episode.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, Wednesday I got the college football game. WVU, let's go Mountaineers. They'll be in town here in Charlotte, putting down the UNC Tar Heels.
Tar Heels.
They're going all right. They're going right back up to where do they play out of? Wilmington. They're going right back up there somewhere.
Chapel Hill, sir.
Chapel Hill, wherever. They're going back up north. They're getting the hell out of here because they're going and with an L on their tags. So yeah, but we got that going on next week. The holidays, we got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be holding out until the new year before we talk to you guys again. We're gonna miss you.
Yeah, we'll miss you guys and hope you spend time with your families, your loved ones, your friends, your family. Have a great holiday season. Just, the biggest thing that I would tell you guys, we talk a lot of junk on here as wrestling fans. That's what we're going to do.
Oh, yeah.
But,
got to keep it fun.
Yeah. But on a serious note, though, as we drift into the holiday season here, think about somebody that may be less fortunate and try to do something for them. It's always nice to just reach out and help somebody else help themselves.
It's better to give to receive.
Absolutely. So with that, we thank you guys for listening to today's episode. We appreciate everything and have a happy holidays. And with that, we bid you adieu.
And we bid you ho, ho, hoes.
Today's podcast was produced by SBP. You can find our podcast on all major podcast platforms. Also connect with us on our social media accounts. Search for The Bookers Alliance on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.